What were we doing when we were 14? I was probably sitting on my sofa or my bed, reading a book or doing my boring schoolwork or annoying my brother. But one kid ended up going to Bombay to build a better life for him and his family at 14. He would do any work he could find and eventually started working at the railways there. It was not like his life instantly changed. No, the address he had was just for letters from home. And where did he stay? Anywhere with shelter near where he worked. It was not like he had that much of money with him to afford anything better. And when he wasn't working, it was at a hotel in the area, cleaning up the floors and the tables and anything else he could do for a little more money. And the money he got? He sent most of it home to his family. This went on for 4 long years, until one day he got a chance to take the Lanji and go to the Gulf. This journey took a really long time. But this long journey opened up this huge box of opportunities for him. A new place, new job, maybe more money to send back home. But he was hit with the realization that he still had a long way to go. I mean, the second he docked in Gorfakan in UAE, he was climbing one hill after another. ഒരു കുന്ന് കയറും, പിന്നെ താഴെ എത്തും, പിന്നെ അടുത്ത കുന്ന് കയറി ഇറങ്ങും. These were his exact words. I'll climb one hill, then come down, and then climb the next hill, and then come down again. This went on for many days, until he met some other Malayalis. They ended up taking him to their tents and gave him dates and water. He said it tasted amazing after not eating anything properly for a long time. They even helped him land a job at a hotel. He kept hoping that he could find a better opportunity one day, something he could earn more to send home. And then one day, 2 years later, it falls on his lap on a silver platter. He got a job at the palace of Sheikh Ahmed Al Thani in Jumeirah in Dubai. He moved with them to Bur Dubai and the new palace a few years later. And after the Sheikh died, started working for his wife, who's the sister of the current ruler of Dubai. He started off doing little jobs for them and eventually ended up being their PA. He went all over the world with them and saw so many things that not many people have seen in their lives, like the opening of Disneyland Paris or the marriage procession of King Charles and Princess Diana, and so much more. This whole thing sounds a bit like a movie script, right? It's not. It's the story of PM Abdul Qadir. People know him as Qadir Ka, Abdu, or Abduga, their boss, colleague, or friend. I know him as Daddy, my amazing grandpa. This is his story, a story of wonder, hope, and resilience. Hey guys, welcome to Backyard Miracles. This is your host Farha, and today we'll chip the iceberg in the story of an immigrant and how he ended up eventually settling in the place that now we call Dubai in UAE with his family and friends. Daddy was only 14 when he first left home for a long time. Amongst the 7 of the kids there, he was the second youngest. And even when he lost his mom at a young age, he always seemed like a bubbly kid. And no matter the age he was, some of his best memories were of his growing and close family. And the best part was, they were not all related by blood, as Daddy's mom was the second wife of his dad. And even when they were rich with love, they were not that rich as money goes by. And as time went on, they were barely scraping by. And that's why, in 1969, he took the decision that completely changed his life. He ran away from home with the little bit of belongings that he had, took the first train to Bombay with the hopes of becoming something big. Something big, and then send money home and make them also feel better. You might be wondering, isn't he too young to make such a decision? The thing is, he may have been too young to make such a life-changing decision. But the only thing he had in his mind was to help his family have a better life, or at least the ability to think about that comfortable life. Bombay was not as crowded as it is now, but it was still pretty crowded. But it was just as diverse even then as it is now. Daddy reached Bombay on October 21st, 1969. He got on the train from Kerala, and 3 days later he reached there in Bombay, or as he called it, Bombay. He went on wandering the city for a long time in search of places where he could just rest and eat, and then maybe find some work that he can do. I mean, he didn't really have that much of money with him to ensure that he can find a better place or that he can actually live in the city. But one thing he didn't realize was he had someone in his corner, someone to look out for him. He had one of his cousins in Bombay, so he set out to find him. And once they met up, he started looking for a job for him and eventually started working at the railways there. He was doing odd jobs for them for a long time, but the money he got was not enough to sustain him and send him home. So he started working at a hotel. He was just doing clean-up jobs for them, cleaning the tables and the floors. അവിടെ ഉണ്ടായിരുന്നപ്പോൾ ഞാൻ ജീവിക്കല്ലായിരുന്നു. രാവിലെ എണീറ്റ് പണിക്ക് പോവും, പിന്നെ തിരിച്ച് റൂമിലെത്തും. When I was there, I was not living, only surviving. Wake up in the morning, go to work, then back to the room, and it goes on. These were his words when I asked him about how it was in Bombay. He also mentioned on how he doesn't remember most of it. I was too young, Mole, which means daughter, and it's used as a term of endearment. And now I'm too old to remember what all happened. I was somehow there for 4 years, and I won't call that living. But the second he found out that he can take the ship and go to the Gulf, he took that chance. But one thing came in the way: money. It was 500 rupees at that time to take the Lanji and go to the Gulf. And his savings for the last 4 years only added up to 400 rupees. And his heart sank as he understood something, that he had to wait now to go. But he also realized that a chance like this might not come again. And at this, a small miracle happened. His cousin, the one who checked on him when he was there, lent him the leftover 100 rupees. Now you might be wondering, why is he taking the Lanji? It is actually an illegal travel route, when he had perfect legal ways to travel to the Gulf. There's a simple answer to this. He didn't have a passport and couldn't afford that and the visa at the time. So when the opportunity came in 1973, he took it and didn't let go. The journey took almost 2 weeks and came with a lot of challenges of its own. Daddy still remembers on how food and water were scarce, and they were rationing this. And what was there was not enough for everyone. And some people were also getting horribly sick and puking their guts out. And all this was in the middle of the sea. He also remembers swimming and taking a bath in the open ocean, and how he was almost swept away by the current while doing it. And then something happened we've only seen in pirate movies. When the supplies got even more scarce, the people on the ship threatened to throw him overboard. But being the headstrong and brave kid he was, he was 18 when all this happened. He told them this when they were threatening him. എന്നെ അറിഞ്ഞാൽ ഞാൻ നിങ്ങളെയും വെള്ളത്തേക്ക് വലിച്ചിടും. You push me and I'll pull you also with me into the water. I can't imagine anyone else saying something like that. But knowing him, I'm not surprised. He was always like this for as long as I can remember. Headstrong and brave and incredibly stubborn. And when his mind was set on something, he would do anything in his power to achieve it. He finally reached Corfacan in UAE. But the thing was, he wanted to go to Dubai. And they dumped him in Corfacan, which is very far away from Dubai. And the special thing about Corfacan is, it's extremely hilly. And that's when he realized something. He'll have to climb all these hills to reach someplace with humans. And this might take a really long time. And he was not at all prepared for the journey. He didn't even have the supplies with him like food or water, or the only thing he had with him were the clothes on his back, or even the money to buy anything else. He still went on, determined to make it. It was not an easy journey, or even something he can look back to without feeling the dread he felt that day. One thing he kept saying was people falling off the hill as they were climbing up, them rolling down unconscious just from sheer exhaustion, and some were even dying from the climb, just collapsing where they were, not moving, just there, or even puking just from the exertion of climbing up the hill. And to add to all of this horror, he was caught in the heavy rain, and what little supplies he had, it got washed away in the downpour. He was devastated on what all happened, but he still kept going, determined and headstrong. He only stopped when he had to catch his breath while he was climbing the hill. This went on for a few days, until he met some other Malayalis there. Seeing this young kid with nothing to call his own and nowhere to go, they took him under their wing and took care of him. They ended up taking him to the tents and gave him dates and water. He said it tasted amazing after not eating anything properly for a long time. And then they took him to the hotel and got him some food. The rice and the dal tasted heavenly. And the Suleimani, which is just black tea with some cardamom and sugar, tasted like nectar to him. And that is something that can never be replicated. He still talks of that Suleimani, saying, Mole, even if you or your mom or your brother or even your mummy, that is my grandma, will make me a Suleimani, it will never taste the same to me, ever. It was something special and something that I can never experience again. They, as in the people that took him in, even helped him land a job at a hotel. This went on for 2 more years. He went on working there at the same hotel and sent money home to his family back in Kerala. And the cousin who lent him the money to get there, he sent him also money to pay back the debt, the 100 rupees that he lent him that day in Bombay. One thing we always underestimate is the kindness of the people in our world. I mean, if the people hadn't helped Daddy in Gorfakan, God knows where he would be right now. And if his cousin hadn't lent him the money, would he have found another way to go? Another way to get the money? That's a question we've left to fate and not really thought about, to be honest. As he was narrating each experience he had to reach Dubai, he had tears in his eyes. He remembered how hard it was. And the same eyes also held a moment of pride and love. The love he had for his family. And we still get the benefits of how hard he worked in all those early years. That's all for today, guys. Thank you so much for listening. This is Farha signing off. We'll be back next Saturday with the next episodes of Backyard Miracles. Stay tuned to the next episode where I talk about how he ended up eventually reaching Dubai and how he came to work for the royal family of Dubai and how they took him all over the world with them as their PA and personal friend and all the things he saw and experienced.